So, where is the money coming from for these historic pay raises? We start with Kirk Adams, Governor Doug Ducey's Chief of Staff and a former Speaker of the House. Welcome back to Square Off.
Thank you. Good to be here, man.
Let's give folks a little snapshot of the governor's plan. Arizona teachers get a 1% raise this year from the legislature. The governor's calling for a 9% pay raise next fall, then 5% in the fall of 2019, another 5% in the fall of 2020. That would be a 20% raise over 4 years, boosting average pay to an estimated $58,000 a year. Got that right?
Pretty close, Bram. So
okay.
9% this year added to the 1% that the governor already proposed, and 5%, which each additional year after that, which means by the time teachers walk into their classrooms with their students at the start of the school year this fall, they'll have 10% more in their pockets. And by the time they walk into class in the fall of 2020, a total of 20%. The one point that I would add to your description is that these are funds that will be in the base, meaning that they're ongoing and they're inflated.
Okay, and we'll come back to that in a sec. The plan does have to be approved by the legislature. You expect debate to start as soon as this coming week?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get the details. What I hear a lot, the question I heard a lot after it was introduced, where's the money coming from to pay for these raises?
Well, it's a good question, and all you have to do is to look at how great Arizona's economy is doing. State revenues have always been a lagging indicator behind the economy, and we're seeing incredible growth in Arizona's economy, and this plan reflects our ability to put those new dollars that are coming in as a result of more Arizonans working towards the top priority of the state, which is teachers and students.
Okay, we know very well here the economy goes like this and then it goes like this. So how reliable a source of funding is growth?
So I've been around the state capitol and budgeting since around 2005. I've seen a lot of revenue forecasts during that period of time. And I feel very comfortable recommending to the governor and to the current speaker and president of the Senate that this forecast is not only reliable, but frankly, it's fairly conservative. And when these numbers come out, you'll see that they are in line with the Financial Advisory Committee and other economists who advise that committee.
Okay, so relying on economic growth. I understand some of this might come from a hospital assessment.
There are a number
being used right now for the Medicaid expansion.
So there are a number of items that help us get all the way to this, including repurposing several of the governor's priorities that he unveiled in his budget, his executive budget, in January of this year. And we believe that the combined with the economic growth, with caseload saving, with reprioritizing that budget, then we can get to what's necessary that's sustainable and ongoing for this teacher base.
So there are a lot of different baskets you're pulling money from for this.
There are three main categories: new revenue growth, adjustments to caseload because the economy is going so well, and repurposing the governor's priorities.
And what about the assessment, the hospital assessment? Would that be used to help pay for teacher raises?
There are mechanisms in there that do assist in getting there, and the hospital assessment could potentially be part of that, but we'll be working with the legislature on those final details.
Do you think legislature, which sued over the hospital assessment, would go for it?
So, Brandon,
used to pay for teacher raises?
It's not good for me right now to share all those details with you before we have a chance to speak with legislative leadership. I can share with you that we have shared all the major components of this plan with the legislature, and there's a reason why the Speaker of the House, the President of the Senate, and many legislators were standing with the governor, along with educators and education advocates, at the press conference yesterday announcing this 20% raise for teachers by 2020.
Okay. Red for Ed made a point of including school staff, not just teachers, in their demands for more money. Would school staff be benefiting from these raises?
So the other key component to the governor's plan is he continues to restore recession-era cuts to additional assistance. This is $100 million above and beyond the 20% pay raise. $100 million this year that will go to school districts, and over the next 5 years fully restore that recession-era cut to the tune of $371 million. Here's why that's important, Brad. That money that is going to additional assistance will free up dollars that were previously going from personnel to that soft capital. This means we'll be able to give raises, that school districts will now have money for textbooks, computers, and those soft capital items, curriculum updates, that sort of thing, and free up operational dollars that the districts and the school boards will now have the opportunity to decide how they get spent, and if they choose to spend that on support personnel, they're in charge, and they'll be able to have the resources to do that.
So a big question, does this have to be approved by the legislature every year for this year and then the 2 years after that?
So we are on a 3-year budget cycle. So what you'll see this year is a vote on the specific FY19.
For the 9% raise.
And then you'll see as well how we're going to do the additional 5% in every other part of the budget in the 3-year cycle leading up to 2020.
But is a future legislature bound to vote for that?
There is
to sign off on that?
There is nothing in the budget that any future legislature you can say is bound by. But by putting these dollars in the base, ongoing and inflated, they are protected.
They are okay. Just to be clear, so is it fair to say this is a 9% raise for this year? If passed by the legislature,
it'll be 10% for this year.
Okay,
by the time you add the one.
It still has to happen. Still has to be approved, and then we'll see about coming years because the governor can't guarantee that, can he?
The governor can't because he has the power of the veto pen, and it's going to be in the 3-year budget. So it'll be 5% next year, 5% the year after. So by 2020, it's 20%.
All right, Kirk Adams, thanks so much.